Hello, welcome to Recentered, a VR podcast. This is episode 37. My name is Gary and I'm joined as always by Lee and Rog. We're going to talk through a few of the latest in the world of VR and MR and AR and all of that kind of stuff. But let's have a quick catch up before we get into the news. And I'll go over to Lee first. Lee, how are you, mate? What have you been up to?
Well, it's a great question. I'll try and be as quick as I can. I've been playing quite a bit of VR. Well, I was playing quite a bit of VR that we'll talk about and what we've been playing. But for the last 5 days, I have been in hospital courtesy of our lovely NHS, and they've been looking after me. So I've just got out yesterday evening, I think. So if I am a little slurry or I do not sound quite with it, I am heavily medicated. Well, I mean, people will probably think, well, isn't he usually? But definitely more so today. And yeah, do you want me to tell you the funny story when I went in?
Go for it, mate. Yeah.
Well, they diagnosed me with Bell's palsy. So if people don't know that, if they just want to Google Justin Bieber, Bell's palsy, and that's basically what I've got at the moment as well. They thought I'd had a stroke, so I had to go all flashing lights, ambulance and all that. That was Monday morning. And yeah, I had to go and have to the optometrist to have some tests on my eyes because I couldn't see very well at one of my eyes. But in the meantime, because you're in hospital, they put you in these like stockings, compression stockings. I don't know if you know. And they're not very fetching, and they come up to your knees. So imagine being in a pair of shorts, being wheeled around the hospital, because I'm not allowed to walk about, in that. And then where I had to go to the optometrist, when they go through the door, it was absolutely round, and everybody's facing one direction, they're facing the window. So there's like 60 people in here, and he's wheeling me in the wheelchair in my stockings and my Crocs. And he doesn't put me like where all the other people are sitting. No. He puts me right at the end, wheels me to where the window is, and faces me, facing everybody. Right, so I'm sat there like they just wheeled John Merrick in, and I could tell all these people were staring at me. I felt like there should have been like a little kid going around with his cap off, taking money from him to see the freak. So I sat there for half an hour, really panicky about them staring at me. But yeah, I got everything sorted. I had MRIs, CAT scans, and all sorts of things, neurology. And yeah, I'm doing a bit better today, but it could be like, I think 3 weeks to 9 months to get part of my face working right again. But yeah, I just want to thank the NHS and all the nurses. They don't get paid enough for putting up with some of the stuff I saw in there, which I can't tell everybody about. But yeah, Glad to be out, glad to be back, and glad to be back on the podcast.
Yeah. Well, you seem relieved anyway to be home, because after 5 days, I bet you're ready to get back anyway, aren't you?
Already Wednesday.
That? Yeah.
I'd had enough then, yeah.
Yeah. I could tell, because we were talking about it. We'll get into the Upload VR showcase later, but because you didn't realise it was that day as well, did you? You were probably drugged up at that point. But
I didn't know it was that day.
Yeah, but you didn't have access to watch it. So we'll go through
I had access to YouTube, which is really strange. But just that the live one, it just said denied, access denied, need to consult your administrator or one of them weird things. So I couldn't actually watch it.
So maybe they just blocked live streaming then. Maybe could be. Which is very odd. I suppose maybe they don't want people, I don't know, live streaming out and
Yeah, I never thought I could have tried that.
Yeah.
But you bought a new headset, didn't you, just before you went in as well?
Well, this is the secret of what's in the bag. And as Roger's just given it away, yes, I bought a PSVR 1 headset and picked it up. I was like looking around on Facebook Marketplace. I was going to do a video of can you basically buy a PSVR 1 and get the Astrobot game for PSVR 1 for cheaper than the actual new game coming out. And I was going to try and do that. And while theoretically, yes, you can, I couldn't really pick anything up cheaper while, around where I am. So I ended up going to CEX and buying the headset. It was only £40. And yeah, it's pretty mint condition. And picking the camera up. And I bought some new controllers for £30 with like 5 or 6 games. I'll send you a pic, Rog, if you want to pick up something like that. So I've got a bit of a collection going on, but I can't use them yet. One, because I can't see, and two, I'm waiting for PlayStation to hopefully send me the camera adapter out. Now, I know Gary has very kindly offered to post me his or drop it off, whatever, but I think the turnaround's around about 2 weeks maybe, and then they tell you when it's been shipped. So as long as no one's ordered one with this headset before, I should be good to go and in PSVR, hopefully in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, that's good. And also, you put up a picture of some of the games you picked up as well on CEX. So you've got Astrobot in there. Some other decent ones as well, I saw.
I mean, they were so cheap, but I was going to pick Astrobot originally when I was speaking to Roger about it. They've actually put it up a couple of quid. So I think all the all the talk about the new Astrobot game, people's been out buying it for the PSVR. But I bought like Brush of Blood, and they're like £3. They're not a lot of money at all nowadays. So I'm just trying to get a little bit of a collection going to just play some. Now, Roger's on about it being, well, I said it's like nostalgic now, the PSVR one. But Roger was on about saying, is it retro? And I'm like, well, maybe, kind of, in a way. I mean, what is it, 17? It's like 7 years. Is that old enough to be retro? Or is it just outdated tech now that we can go back and play on?
I think at the moment, I class it as probably outdated, maybe.
Yes, not retro,
Yeah, saying that, it's like there's still, the odd game on there still plays really well.
Yeah, well, I was thinking about picking one up as well. We were talking about it on Discord, and I was getting very close, to be honest. And I've seen some locally, like on Facebook Marketplace and stuff like that, and Gumtree and stuff. You can get the headset and the camera for about £40.
Yeah.
And then I've got access to some of the games already. So I'm just thinking I could do, but then you've mentioned this as well, because you've still got yours, haven't you, Rog? Like all the wires and things like that. And I've got to have all that in place, and along with the PSVR 2 as well. It's just a bit of a pain to play. What I would do is I'd play Astrobot, and I'd get a hankering to play Wipeout as well now and again. And I can't believe that they wouldn't bring that over. Or it would be great to get that on PC as well, to be honest, like that Wipeout game. It was really good.
Wipeout desperately needs a version that runs at a native frame rate, not a reprojected one, because that was so great. And I played it through to sort of towards the end. And once you get to those last levels, those last races, it's too quickly for a reprojected image, and all you get is like blurry mess. And some of the last races, I switched to the TV. I literally couldn't play it in the headset because it's that fast. The difference between frames is that much. It was a blur. It was an absolute blur. It's not very often I'll say a game needs 120 hertz native, but this does, because it's me and frame rates. I'm fine at 72 in a headset, but this thing, it needed 120 hertz native for the high end races.
Yeah, but so if you don't get the adapter, Lee, anyway, if you do want me to send up my adapter, then let me know, because I've not got any serious plans to pick one up. I was sort of half-heartedly looking at them, but I don't think I'm going to get one anyway. So
I know you could pick them up for like £10-15 and things like that. But I thought if Sony's sending them out for free, I'll get one of them. Selling them on.
I thought you were on about the headset then, because I know you spotted one, didn't you? Which I think probably so quickly. There was a PSVR,
the very first one.
PSVR 1 headset. Somebody had put it up for £30, not sold it, and they'd cut it to £15.
It's ridiculous.
With camera, I might even have a picture of that as well, Roger. I'll send it you, because I was like, is this real or what? And it had sold, but it was in Barnsley. So I thought by the time I've gone up and paid petrol to fetch it, it'll be £40 anyway. But I couldn't. They're all like £90, £150, stupid money where I am. And then since I bought mine, I've seen several for £40. But I suppose I've got that peace of mind with CEX. It's a really nice headset. There's none of the foam's deteriorating or anything like that. The lenses look perfect. So I've got 2 years warranty as well. I thought for the sake of like £15 extra or whatever it's going to cost me to buy it from there, it's just a bit of peace of mind.
Absolutely. Given how old they are now, I mean, mine just stopped working and it was just sat there on the shelf. And then one day it just didn't work anymore. And I still don't know whether it was the headset that failed or whether it was the breakout box. So, which is why I bought that other one off my mate, just for the sake of still having a working unit.
Yeah.
I was kind of impressed with it though. Like I said, I don't know if I spoke about it. I don't know if I spoke about it when I tried it at PD's. There's a video out when I went and tried Astrobot, because PD had heard that I'd not tried it. And while it's got a bit of screen door and it's not the best resolution in the world, I had such a fantastic time playing that game. And I was still thinking about it 2 days later. And I've since bought a PSVR 1. So, Team Asobi or whatever can kiss that.
Yeah. Some stuff still does look good in that headset, or acceptable anyway, should I say. Astrobot does. That Tiny Tracks game, which I like my little mini slot racing car games for some reason, and that still looks great. Rush of Blood I did try, and I still maintain back at the time Rush's Blood was a better game. I don't think technically it's held up. It's a rough play nowadays, I think.
Yeah. A lot of the problem with it, in my mind as well, and I sold mine a long time ago anyway, but it was always the controllers, like the motion, the move controllers, that held it back for those types of games. But a lot of the stuff, so like Astrobot or Wipeout, and those kinds of games, you don't need the motion controllers anyway, because they're really not very good, and they weren't even good at the time. So they're definitely not good now. They've got like this weird latency with them as well when you move them, and if you're used to other VR systems now, including the PSVR 2, you don't get any of that. So it's difficult to go back to them, I find. But
I mean, I could get into the whole debate of, is it VR without motion controls?
Well, no, yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Genius with the controller. Some of the things that they're incorporated with the controller, I thought it was fantastic how they use it and what bit I played. So I'm not going to get into that debate because obviously we're right and they're all wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we've got a hell of a lot of things to get through on this as well. But you did mention as well, you've got, because talking about moving away from the PSVR 1, you've also been trying to redeem a few keys, it seems, on the Meta headset, running into a few problems.
No, I'm not knocking the guys from Synth Riders, but what I will say is, I messaged them a while back, and because they sent me a key for PSVR 2, and I think I put it for you, didn't I, Rog, on the Recentered one, and you guys played it, but I did say to them, thanks a lot for that. They sent me another message about something, and I went, I've not got a PSVR 2, but I do have Quest 3, and I picked the game up, and I picked the 80s back up, because I really want to play it on the Quest 3. Never heard anything for like a month, and then all of a sudden, another guy got in touch, apologies, I don't really want to say his name anyway, but he said, here's the rest of the keys that you'll need for all the download packs and that. Have fun and enjoy. And he sent me a spreadsheet with 64 keys on it. So it must have took him like 2 hours to put all that in. Only the issue is, Meta blocked me when I was trying to put them in. So I got to about the 10th or maybe 11th one, and it popped up saying, your IP has been blocked due to suspicious activity. You'll be able to use it again in 1 or 2 days. So then I had to get in touch with Meta and said, look, I'm just trying to, redeem these keys. Can you unblock it? I'm not like some dodgy scammer or anything. And then they started going on about game card keys or, Meta money things and saying, if you put this and put that in, you won't get that. And I thought, well, that's not what I've said. So you've obviously not read the email, so I never replied to it. But what I did was I just put like 10 in a day for the next week to redeem them all. So thank you very much for Synth Riders for sending me those. But yeah, apparently they are... You don't download them as a pack, as one key for all 4 or 5 songs or whatever. They are individual keys for it. So that was a fun time.
I think they need to sort that out. They should be just redeem one key for a pack of songs. I mean, surely they can do that.
But I think they were selling them separately as well. So I think that's why they are all individual keys. But now I love Synth Riders. I was trying to get a bit more fitness going. And yeah, I was really enjoying that on easy. I mean, I can't do anything more than that.
You know what the lesson learnt there is, don't you? Don't try and get fit. You'll end up in hospital.
Yeah, don't try and get fit. Don't try and get that with Synth Riders.
Sage advice, yeah.
Yeah, great.
But sticking with Meta as well, you've been revisiting an old game on the Quest, haven't you? So Moss and Moss 2, which we've spoken about endlessly on this podcast already, because I think it's among my favourite, of those types of games at least, it's among my favourite games like that. But yeah, what did you think? What was your original impression of Moss? I remember you talking about it ages ago.
I've got a video out, and I loved the first part of it. If anyone wants to go and watch it, you can see me almost cry because I got that emotional. And yeah, but I got to the part where I was just struggling there's some like little crab things come out with like laser guns, and you have to face them a certain way and push the stick back and forth. And I just had to find that really, really fiddly, and I just got so annoyed with some of the puzzles. I thought, I've had enough. But I was like kind of flicking through my catalogue thinking, well, what can I revisit to play? And I thought, well, I'll try Moss, see if I can get past that little bit that was really annoying me and that I hated. And I did. And yes, it's one of my favourite games of all time now. Yeah, it's great. I loved it. I mean, on the Quest 3, you can use Quest Games Optimize and it up-reses it massively. And while some of the distance textures are still a bit bland and a bit blocky, it is not much difference between that and the PC version. And I played through it. I think I can't wait to get back on it. Like 2 or 3 nights I played all the way through it, told Roger about it. And whilst I do like Moss 2, I like the interactions. You have more interactions as the person, because you're like a god person, aren't you? Like the reader of the book, if people don't know about the game. And you've got a little mouse called Quill, and you're helping her. You've got little interactions with her, so you'll put your hand out and you'll high-five each other now and again when she does something good, which is kind of clever. And she keeps looking to you for advice and things to open. And what I did find quite cool is I got stuck on one part of the game, and she was like pointing at it. She was going like that and pointing at it. Clip that bit out, and then and then I thought, oh yeah, it is. I've got to activate that to move that bit, and so they do. You know, the character helps you in the game as well. And the interactions in Moss 2 I really like because you get to make vines grow. You get to make like little road things that you can walk on, and you get various extra bits. I wasn't keen of when you actually. Oh, spoiler alert! If you've not played Moss 2, halfway through you swap to another character, which is like some sort of, I won't say like a badger mouse, but she's just like the same sort of thing in the snowy mountains and that. And she's got a right attitude, and it started to annoy me a little bit with how she was. But once you get back to Quill, which I've just done now, yeah, I think they're fantastic games.
Yeah,
really do.
Yeah, I've played through both of them. I've played through Moss 1 when it was first released on PC, and I'm pretty sure I played through Moss 2 on PC as well, but it was in a Quest as well. We spoke about Moss 2 when it first came out, didn't we, Rog, as well? So
yeah.
It's like one continuous game, really. Moss 1 carries straight into Moss 2, so I definitely recommend playing the first one.
I'm pretty sure they've said originally it was supposed to be one game, but because of the sort of like the budget they had and everything, they had to split it into two. So yeah, it's a single game. Really.
Yeah.
You can tell how much they've bumped it up, because I won't spoil the ending of Moss 1, but it kind of starts there on Moss 2, and graphically they've gone way above what it was in Moss 1, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So I stand corrected. I was wrong. I'll admit it. Live to the internet.
Rog, then, what about you? What have you been up to? Let's get into some of your stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's still playing sort of quite a bit of, on the old flat side. I've jumped into Doom Eternal recently because I never got around to playing that, and the new TV's had me revisiting a lot of flat games, or visiting a lot of flat games for the first time. And Doom Eternal's really good. It's pretty tough, I find, but I'm just looking for anything that shows off the
OLED,
sort of like the OLED in the HDR, and it's a bit shocking how much of a sort of HDR snub I've become rather quickly.
Did you play the first Doom game, 2016? Did you play through that one?
Yeah.
I'm about halfway through that first one, so I need to finish that one before I even think about
Eternal's definitely harder.
Yeah,
from the off, definitely. But yeah, I mean, it's still like an amazing looking game. It runs great as well. I mean, the first one ran really well anyway. But the second one's are good as well. And then is it Doom the Dark Age or something coming out next year?
Yeah,
it's going on medieval. That looks a bit weird. So yeah, I've been playing that. I did jump into. Well, actually, I played through Still Wakes the Deep, which is a flat game, but people have been playing it using the UEVR mod. I just went through it on my TV. It's like it's by the Chinese Room, who did. I've forgotten the name of it already.
Everybody's Gone to the Rapture.
Everybody's Gone to the Rapture, yes. Yeah. That's it. So it's sort of a walking sim-ish, although this is more gamified than I think that was. There's a lot of platforming and climbing, and there's horror stuff, but I wouldn't really say puzzles. There's a lot of go here, do that, turn this machine on, turn that machine off, sort of thing. And at times you're being chased by like this, play it, you'll find out. And yeah, it's about 4 or 5 hours long. And yeah, I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. And do you know what? Playing that game on a TV, I got more in the way of atmosphere and ambience than I did playing Madison in VR. Which I think says everything. Yeah, but yeah, it's got
I got scared as well. Sorry to interrupt, Rog. Yeah. There's a part when there's someone chasing you, like in the water pipe type things, isn't there? I was squinting. I didn't want to look behind because I'm like, no way, I am getting out of here as quick as I can. I was panicking, I was sweating, and yeah, that would give me real tension on a flat screen.
But yeah, you're on an oil rig, aren't you? It's based in the 1970s, and you're off the coast of Scotland, and a lot of the voice actors are Scottish, or pretty much all of them apart from one maybe. And no offence, but I did need the subtitles.
But some of the subtitles are in slang though as well.
Yeah, so even with the subtitles, I was like, but you generally get the meaning. But the voice acting on it was excellent. I think some of the best I've heard in a game recently. It just worked really well.
I was interested because it's when it starts, the game actually is like set about a few days after my birthday in real life. So I was kind of intrigued to see what sort of technology and how things were. And plus, it's UE5, isn't it? So it looks really good, and the facial animations is fantastic.
Well, that's the thing. Talking about technology, one of on the credits you get the normal, all the stuff in this game is fictional. Yeah, but do you notice there was actually Grundig radios in there?
Is there?
Yeah, and I googled it just to see if there were an actual model, and I found the company's still going. Which
Grundig.
I didn't realise. But yeah, I remember the old Grundig radios from back in the day.
See, my uncle had a Grundig VCR player. And it was a great big massive thing.
Yeah.
But you could turn the tape over, so you could record both sides of the tape.
Yes, my uncle had one as well. It's the only one.
Like gold coloured. It's like goldy around the edges and like brown.
Yeah, it was the only one of those I ever saw. Yeah. The holes in the tape went straight through, didn't there? There was it was like you literally flipped over like a big VHS type tape that you could literally turn over.
I'm pretty sure he gave it me when I was younger, like 10 or 11, something like that. And I had it for a few years. I'm sure I binned it, and I reckon they got for quite a bit of money on eBay now.
Oh, that's a shock. So yeah, I've been playing that. I did jump into Bulletstorm because that's been patched. I mean, it's been patched quite a few times now, hasn't it?
It's been patched up more than me this last week.
Yeah, that's saying something. And yeah, the resolution, I think, is definitely better. It seemed clearer from what I remember. Because when I was playing it, I was thinking if it had visually looked like this before, I wouldn't have had any issues with the visuals. It's not like Red Matter sharper or anything, but, nothing is. But good grief, the AI is just so thick. It's still utterly, utterly terrible. I was in a firefight and the AI was literally stood there, sort of facing a wall, and the enemy character was just stood next to him, trying to attack him and not really doing much while I was off fighting some other ones. And it kept doing that. There was the mini boss battle just before you get to the big rolling mining thing that chases you when you're on the cart or on the train. Just before that, there's a big guy with a minigun. So my AI companion went off, ducked behind a crate, stayed there and did nothing. I'd run out of ammo, so I couldn't do anything. So, and I'll put this on after. It's been ages since I played it, so I was struggling trying to remember the controls anyway. But I ended up just stood next to the minigun guy, just kicking him. I'd kick him, he'd try and shoot me, I'd kick him. And I stood there, I think, how long can this go on for? And I've literally got a video clip of me just stood there 5 minutes, stood against the mini boss, just kicking him trying to shoot, me kicking him trying to shoot. And it's like, this is just so dumb.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous.
I went in this morning for about just half an hour just to see what it was like. Now, it's had these updates, but I played it from the beginning again, basically because last time I played it, I only played it for like 10 minutes before anyway, because it would crash. I had bugs. I couldn't, sometimes things, it wouldn't let me progress. And this was literally when it first came out. So we mentioned that anyway on a show which we released shortly after the game came out. But with all these patches, it definitely looks better. I mean, it's definitely improved in terms of resolution, and the game does look good. It's still, it's an older game anyway. It's like a VR port of an old game, so it's still blocky in places. Like they're not using loads of polygons on the rocks or the scenery and things like that, which is okay. I'm not really bothered about that either way. I just don't think I really like the game that much. It's just because I'm a fan of some games like this, but this one just doesn't feel like the gun doesn't feel satisfying to shoot and things like that. I think that's where it falls down a little bit for me. And I did run into some AI problems with a companion. I think that's where I noticed it, because you mentioned it and I was looking out for to see what this guy was doing, and he wasn't doing a lot. He was, he'll go off and he'll sort of, like you say, he'll sort of stand in the opposite direction. An enemy will come up, start attacking him, and sometimes he'll attack them, sometimes he won't do anything. So in the end, I just sort of would go from point to point, ignore what he was doing, not even pay attention to any of that stuff, and just try and get as much out of the game as I could. But I think now at least, it's a playable game, and I think people that really like this style, which again, I'm not really opposed to this kind of just sort of run and gun kind of game in VR. It just didn't appeal to me, this particular one. That's all I'd say. But I think they've patched it and got it working at least. So
yeah. Well, there's a quote for the box. They patched it and it works.
Yes. There you go. You can have that. Actually, no, I wasn't paying, thinking about it. I wasn't paying for that. So for me, I bought a Magic Leap 1. Now, this headset, for anybody who doesn't know, it came out in 2018. It was about $3,000 when it was released. It's an AR headset, and it is like the first one. It was the first one that was released, and trying to get some kind of approximating AR glasses kind of form factor into this kind of functionality. And I think probably everybody knows about Magic Leap anyway. And these were available. I picked some up 2-3 years ago, something like that, for about £450 with the full intention of just trying them for a couple of months and then selling them on. So I made a video on it on my YouTube channel like 2 years ago with these. And then I saw that they were going on eBay now for £75. Like brand new, sealed, in box, these glasses. And there's a reason for this, is because last year Magic Leap announced that they would be basically applying a kill switch to all of these old models. And at the end of this year, December 31st, they will apply this kill switch and they will just completely stop working. And then somebody posted on Reddit that they'd contacted Magic Leap recently and said that basically they're not going to stop these devices from working, it seems. They're going to, as long as you've updated to the latest firmware and you've downloaded all the apps that you want, as long as you don't connect to the internet after the December 31st, you can carry on using them, with the caveat that there's going to be obviously apps that require internet connection that won't work. So I thought, what the hell, 75 quid, brand new, sealed in box, I'm going to pick these up. And even if I do only get 6 months of use out of them, I can stick them on a shelf and they're like a piece of history from that kind of technology. So yeah, I picked these up and they're good. They're impressive. Like I say, I've used them before anyway, quite extensively, but now I've got some and I'm going to keep them, and hopefully they'll keep working after December 31st. But I was thinking next time we meet up at the Retro Computer Museum or something like that, I can bring them down and you guys can try them. It's impressive. It's still impressive technology, I've got to say. Like when it's scanning the room, it seems like a higher resolution depth map than even the Quest 3 is doing now, and it does it it feels like a smoother way when it maps the room. Everything feels more high resolution. It gets more kinds of the nooks and crannies in your room and stuff like that, which is important for the types of stuff that you're playing on it. And that gets me onto it. What can you play on the Magic Leap? Well, not a lot, really. I mean, there's a list of probably about, 50, 60 apps that you can download, and they're mobile phone mini games, tech demos and things like that. They're interesting to try, but I bought this knowing full well what I was going in and picking up, to be honest. So It is what it is, and I think it's good demo material to show the state of AR glasses as they were in 2018, and it stands up in some ways today. I mean, these stand up very well compared to something like the X-Real or the Rokid is sort of media viewing glasses. The functionality in these is way beyond what those are doing. So I'm pleased I picked them up, even if they do stop working at the end of this year. I'm not sure if they will or not, hopefully not. But
the problem I've got is, I mentioned to you, is the whole situation where you're using glasses with them.
Yeah.
And so I did look, I thought somebody must have done like prescription inserts or something, and looked online. You can get some prescription inserts. That'll be 250 quid, please. At which point I thought, yeah, see ya.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Yeah.
And like I couldn't find anybody who'd done any sort of like 3D printer. I thought somebody must have done some 3D printed adapters, but I couldn't find anything. There must be some around somewhere though.
I would think so, yeah. I mean, on the Magic Leap Reddit, I don't know the actual situation. This customer service rep from Magic Leap said that they will continue working after December 31st. But the community on Reddit sort of still trying to work out some way to get them working anyway. And there seems to be a lot of information about how, just accessories and things like that you can get. I'd be surprised if they've not come up with some kind of community solution to that, but maybe they've not. I don't know. And I think you could still, if I bring them and you want to try them, you can try them with glasses on and just, hold them out just to get a sense of it, I guess. I don't really know how much. It's difficult to know how they fit different people, really, and how close the lenses would get to the glass. But Yeah. I mean, it's a piece of history. That's why I got them for £75. And I think the reason was they were brand new. You know, they were completely sealed in the box. So I thought that in itself, for 75 quid, I'll take the plunge on them. And
I think that's strange, though, isn't it? Do you think someone's just come across them in a warehouse somewhere and gone, what's in here?
Yeah.
You know, they've gone next to all these PSVR 2s in the Ark of Covenant warehouse.
Yeah.
And they've gone, we've still got all these Magic Leaps here. Let's bang them on eBay.
It must
Quite surprising that they're all boxed and brand new.
I know, he had about 15 of them. So he must have either bought a batch. But these are like $3,000 when they were first released. What was it, 6 years ago? Yeah. And now they're £75. And of course, the reason is most people think that they're going to stop working, and maybe they will. Maybe they will stop working. But even so, it's interesting to give these things a try anyway. So, yeah.
Now, I will have to interrupt here because Lee bought his PSVR one, you bought your Magic Leap, and I thought, well, we need to go for the trifecta.
Hey, what we got here?
Yeah,
Ooh.
So you will never guess. You will never guess if you can see my screen. Can you guess what this is and how much I actually paid for it? Because I think you'll have to agree, it's an absolute bargain. It's an absolute bargain.
It's not showing anything on the screen. I just thought I'd say that. I can just see your desktop still.
Oh yeah. It's not updating.
Oh no! Fail! Fail!
If anything, we're not professional. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to like and subscribe.
Hang on, I'm going to exit out and then try and.
I've got to exit out and then back in again.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
How do I
exit
out?
How do I do it?
Hold on.
Right, if I click stop watching, wait to say.
How do I exit out?
Yeah, click stop watching.
Oh, okay.
And then I can click watch stream. Right, it's coming up with something's happening.
Okay.
Guys, can you hear me, Rog?
Yeah.
And now I've got 3 dots, and it says the stream you're viewing currently has reduced video or audio quality. This may be due to network connections. Can you see it?
No, I've just done the same as you. I'm just getting the dots.
Oh no, wait a minute, your screen's moving. I can see the desktop now.
Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, I've got your desktop back now. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see it moving.
There we go.
Yeah.
So back in business.
Right, here you go.
What is this?
Okay, it's something red. Turn your smartphone.
Oh my God! Star Wars mobile phone viewer experience.
There you go. Google Cardboard compatible, no less.
Wow. So you can go back to your old Google Cardboard.
Does that stuff still work?
I have no idea.
That's new and sealed in box as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dude, I'd stick that on a shelf.
Yeah,
stick that on a shelf next to Gary's Magic Leap.
Yeah, for an entire massive £1.
Well, that's a bargain.
Plus postage and packaging.
Well, that's worth sticking on the shelf, isn't it? Yeah. Nice. Well, there we go. So we've all picked up something this week anyway. So
maybe in different stages of technology and prices, but yeah.
Yeah. And also this week I played a little bit of Blade and Sorcery. I did go back in again this morning. So I played earlier in the week because it's had this full release, this 1.0 release on PC. Now, I played this ages ago, but how long has this been out? It's been in early access for many years. Yeah. So
6 years more.
I never jumped in until last year. I picked it up. I got all this credit on Meta, and I thought I'm just going to pick up Blade and Sorcery Nomad, which is like a slightly cut down version of the PC version anyway. And I went in and I thought it surprised me. I was impressed with it, but it says sandbox. I felt like the combat it's just very satisfying to play, and I'll get into that in a minute, but it's a sandbox, so I thought, it's just not a game for me, and I enjoyed it, but I thought I'm just going to refund it. And then when they announced that this 1.0 was releasing on PC and the price was going to go up, I thought, well, now it's got a campaign, maybe I'll get something else out of it. So I decided to pick it up, and I've been playing it, and I tell you what, the polish on this is actually really good. The graphics, it's one of those games where the graphics in some ways look incredibly good in certain areas and a little bit poor in certain other areas, but you sort of get past it, and it's very, very physics based. So for anybody that doesn't know, this is a game, it's a melee combat game which is heavily physics based, and you go up to these enemies, you can grab the enemies, you can stab them and release your inner psychopath, which I've been doing pretty heavily, and it turns out I am a psychopath. I think I've got to the root of the problem. I am a complete psychopath because there's so much fun in just stabbing people in this game. And if it wasn't for that, I think I'd struggle with it, because this is one of those games which is a bit like Boneworks and Bone Lab, where it's so heavily invested on that physics sandbox kind of gameplay it can also be frustrating and finicky as well. And there's one point where I recorded a video, and you'll see it if you're going to show that video on this section, but there's one point where I go and open a door. So I'm just recording when I first went in, I'm just working my way through the tutorial, and then I go up to this door and I try to grab the door and open it, and it doesn't open, and my other hand sort of goes in and glitches through and seems to get caught on something on the other side of this door. So I backtrack, and my arm is just expanding and expanding. I'm thinking, well, at one point,
stuck in the door.
At some point, it's just going to snap back, surely. And I must have been like, in the VR world, about 10, 15 meters away from this door with this really, really long arm stuck behind this door again. And then eventually it did snap back. I just sort of do it. But anyway, it's relying on physics and this underlying physics system so much that you will still get these sort of glitches and things like that in there. But the reason that you keep playing is because it has now got this campaign, and the combat is very, very satisfying to play. However, and I want to acknowledge Main Fan here, because he posted a video on this. I don't know if you guys saw Main Fan's video on Blade and Sorcery.
No, but what did happen was you pointed out this was going to go up in price, and I and I was 50-50 on it, and I went onto Steam and I saw Main Fan had posted a negative review.
Yeah,
and I'm generally in line with his reviews, so I was like, oh no, okay, no, I won't bother. And then like the following day, the price went up, and for some reason the page was still there, and I looked. And it changed his flipping review to positive.
Oh, I yeah. Well, no. So in his video, he comes up with this problem, and the issue is like this: the combat. It's sort of like suspending disbelief when you play this game. You have to really go in and try and play it the way the developer intends you to play it, and you'll get a lot of satisfaction out of it. And you know, it's just fun. It is fun to play, but there is this problem. The AI is stupid, and it's not a difficult game. You can kill these enemies relatively easily. And Main Fan makes this point, like, he can hold a sword out just directly in front of you, walk towards the enemy and stab them, and they'll die immediately.
Yeah.
This is an issue. He highlights this point, and I don't know if I would have even tried that if he hadn't have highlighted it, but it is the easiest way to just kill these enemies. And all it would take, it's like, you just think it's an AI issue is what that comes down to a lot of the time, because all you need to do is say, if the sword is not moving in relation to your body when you are sort of going towards these enemies, then they'll always dodge out of the way, because that's really what any normal person will do. If you're just walking towards someone with a sword outstretched, they'll just dodge out of the way, and it just needs that. If the sword is not moving in relation to the body, make the AI dodge out of the way. And it's an AI issue, and it's a bit silly really, but if you suspend disbelief and you play it the way they want you to, you can get some decent melee combat out of this. And it does, like I say, the reason I'm carrying on playing this, and the reason why I'm getting through the frustrations, is because I'm getting over all of that by just how fun it is to kill people and throw them off cliffs and stuff like that. That's what it comes down to. It just is fun. Yeah, so there's jankiness, the climbing as well. There's issues. So on the rocks, it doesn't feel like climbing in a lot of other stuff where you do this. If you're climbing a ladder, then the hands will sort of lock on to each rung of the ladder, and that's fine. But when you climb along a rock surface or a ledge or something like that, you almost don't know if your hand is actually properly grabbing onto the ledge or not. It will sort of curl around the edge, and you think, okay, am I grabbing it? And sometimes I've let go of my other hand and I've fallen because I've not properly grabbed onto the edge of the ledge. It doesn't work in the same way as a lot of others where it will lock on to rock ledges and things. So it seems like everything is based so heavily on this physics, this underlying physics system, that it's using even that to manage the climbing mechanic and stuff. And that seems to be true, because even if you go up to a wardrobe, you've got a wardrobe in these levels, you'll grab the handle as if, okay, can I get in this wardrobe? I can't get in the wardrobe, it's locked. And not only that, but when I pull the handle towards me, I'm basically just pulling myself towards the wardrobe. So it's all based on these weird little physics things which work on the whole, but in some little use cases, I think they cause a bit of a negative impact, a negative impression overall. So I really do like the game. I've got to say, I like it. It's addictive. because of how fun it is. And now you're playing through these levels with some kind of goal at the end where you have to collect these crystals. You play through a couple of outposts, you fight, you battle a boss, and then you get these crystals, which provides upgrades to progress through the game. I just need that kind of level. I just don't want to go into something where I'm spawning enemies endlessly to kill them. I need some kind of purpose, and now it's providing that. So yeah, I think they've done a good job. And yeah, in spite of all of these issues, I think it's still a good game. Yeah.
Is it as janky as Boneworks?
No, I wouldn't say it's as janky, but it's janky in the same way as Boneworks. That's how I'd put it. And that's the thing. I mean, I can understand hesitancy because I'm not a fan of that ultra relying on that physics system to the extent where it makes the gameplay unsatisfying. This one feels different to me than that, but there's still jank and there's still frustration that people are going to have. But yeah, it's still, even with that, it's still a lot of fun to play anyway. But I don't want to say, you should pick this up and give it a try, because I'm not sure if you would like it, Roger, or not, because of that.
I don't think I would. First of all, the thing that put me off was the actual, this physics system again. I really don't like it. I know some people absolutely love it and they think you can be creative with it and whatever, and I just think it's crap. Yeah. I hate this. I hated Boneworks, hated Bone Labs. I just do not like it because I feel like I'm fighting the game more than I'm fighting any enemies in the game. So that put me off. I mean, another reason I didn't pick it up as well originally was the lack of a campaign. And yeah, okay, it's got one now, but yeah, I think it's just still annoying me. Just looking at the video, it's no, it's not one for me.
Yeah.
Had you not had a good day, Gary, when you played this? Because I'm just looking at, like Roger says at the video, and it's quite graphic.
Yeah, it's you don't realise how much of a psychopath you are. I mean, because I go through this game and I'm sort of stabbing people in the face and the torso, and then I'll grab them and chuck them off a cliff and this kind of stuff, and I'll say that in real life I do that rarely. Let me put it that way. But no, it's just, I mean, yeah, you watch somebody play this, you think, well, I'm never going to talk to them again. They're obviously completely insane, but it is just a lot of fun, I've got to say. Yeah.
Do mods still work with it? Is it still like heavily? I know I've seen lots of like Star Wars mods where people are using lightsabers and things like that.
Yeah, it's got a mod section in the menu, I noticed, but I've not looked into that. So yeah, there's a lot of mods with this because it has all these powers where built into the standard game anyway, where you've got like telekinesis, where you can pick up objects and move them around and spin them. These are all based on the upgrades that you'll get as well. But then people have done, like you say, Star Wars. I think there's been like, is it Halo and stuff like that with this as well? They've done loads of different things in this game. So yeah, mods are fully working. I'm just playing through the game really at the moment, but yeah, I like it. I think it. Yeah, I really do. And I am like you, Rog, really, in terms of Boneworks. I sort of understood some of the merits of it, but I just found it so frustrating to play. And I always go back to the reason I say that is because it's like the VR technology is just not to the point, like the hardware is not to the point where developers can do this and get away with it yet. It comes down to the fact that they're trying to do, this is the part where I'm stretching my arm out, where I'm trying to do they're trying to do things that the hardware just can't cope with at the moment in a satisfying way. And yeah, I think
due to synchronization problems, by the way, that probably, if you're watching this on YouTube, that probably wasn't the point where he's stretching his arm out.
Yeah, sorry. But yeah, Blade and Sorcery, I like it, and I think it's good, but maybe not for everyone.
I've always wanted to pick it up very quickly. I've always seen it, and it's always intrigued me a little bit, like you said, like I said, with all the Star Wars mods and things. But I've never seen it on sale ever.
No.
You know, they have sales for all these VR games, and I've always see if Blade and Sorcery's on sale, and it was always like $17.99 or something like that. And now it's gone up. You know, I'm not going to probably pick it up, but it's the only game I've ever seen not go on sale in forever.
I think it's probably because it was in early access, wasn't it? You know, it's if they were always meaning to put the price up afterwards, you know, and if it was selling okay, and it does seem to be one of those games like Boneworks that it's got a big sort of fan base.
Yeah, it has. Yeah,
people like this sort of thing. So yeah, why put the price down if they don't need to?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
because I want to buy it on the cheap, Rog, because I'm tired.
Yeah, I think it does well anyway. So, and I'll just finish off. I think that it does feel polished now, and some aspects of it look really, really good as well. It's not like it's not the game I expected after playing Blade and Sorcery Nomad on Quest, or even the early version of the game on PC when I saw screenshots of it. I'm having sorry, I was going to comment on the video
Opening
again,
the door, I'll just
but anyway, I know how to do that now much better. There's two you have to do different things to open the door. So it's got a latch, so you have to grab it. You can't just pull it. You have to press the trigger as well in order to open the latch and then open the door, which I didn't realise, but I do now.
I just want to say very quickly, those with keen ears will have picked up a definite clip moment that Gary mentioned about a minute ago. He won't have realised he said it. Rog probably doesn't realise what he said. No. But when you listen back...
So okay, Victoria will.
Definitely.
Oh, God, what have I said now?
Oh, that's going to have us thinking.
Yeah, never mind. All right.
I'll tell you when we've finished.
Let's get over it.
I to try and hold it in again.
Right, we should get on to some of these topics anyway, because we've got a hell of a lot of them to get through. And the first one is going to be the Upload VR showcase, which we can go through. Rog and I have seen it. I've got a full list of the games that are not announced necessarily, but shown at that Upload showcase. Lee, you've not had a chance to watch it yet, have you?
No, unfortunately, being in hospital, I could watch YouTube, but it wouldn't let me watch live. You would just say it's prohibited. So
yeah,
so perhaps it was because I'm in hospital, maybe they thought you might be broadcasting live or something on YouTube, so they blocked that. So no, unfortunately, I missed it, but I did catch a bit of the Walkabout Mini Golf announcement on Twitter after, and I'm looking forward to that. I thought that looked really good. What bit I saw, but that's the only bit I've seen. So mainly you and Roger on this part.
Yeah, they didn't show a lot with that. It's the Wallace and Gromit update for the Walkabout, isn't it? Yeah. So they basically just announced it more or less. But yeah, so there's a long list. Rog, overall, what did you think of the Upload VR showcase anyway?
Can I just ask before you start? And this is not a dig at Upload. Was the audio okay?
Yes.
Oh, that's good then. Carry on.
They did a 2-hour stream, a pre-stream beforehand. And one of the comments was, "We've tested the audio multiple times."
Right, okay.
It was low. It was low. People were commenting in the chat that the audio was low, but it was balanced. Okay, like it wasn't.
You just needed to turn it up a bit more than you would normally, but it was fine.
Yeah, it was.
You could hear everything.
Perhaps you just need to DM them the link to Levelator, and then they'll all be okay.
Yeah. So the first comment I'll make, because we've highlighted a few, haven't we? We've picked a few games out of the list. One of the things we'll mention is when we were in Discord, I was trying to find a working link for Lee to watch while he was in hospital, and I'd had a thought. Anyway, I was trying to find this link, and then you posted my exact thought in Discord, Gary, which was, what would people who play flat games think of all this?
Yeah,
and I was having the exact same thought, because honestly, if you just chose a random part of that stream and put somebody who'd never played VR before and was just like a flat game player, they'd think VR is just shit. I'm sorry, they would. It feels decades... from a visual point of view, and we know once you go into a game, it's an entirely different experience in VR compared to on a screen. But I think this is still a major problem in convincing people that they need to try VR. If they see something like, 90% of the stuff that was shown on here, you'd look at it and laugh. From a visual point of view.
Yeah. It stuck out to me a few times in this. So there was Dig VR, and look, the gameplay and stuff like that might be great, but when they're showing it as a trailer, and it said on the trailer this is not final visuals or not final graphics and things like that, it's just difficult to communicate that. If it was more or less the fact that as VR enthusiasts, we know what to expect. As you mentioned, Rog, we know that it might still be a fun game and we can get past the graphics and that kind of stuff. But if you show this entire showcase to a broader audience of mainstream flat gamers, it's an embarrassment, honestly. And each of these is being shown on IGN, which is going to get that kind of an audience. You had this other one, like By Grit Alone, which might be a great game. I think the trailer was just completely misjudged, and you'll know the one I'm talking about, Rog, where you had this sort of high quality trailer at the beginning, and then it was interspersed with these little snippets of gameplay. So you had this guy being interviewed in this room, and he, it's really high fidelity. It's basically full motion capture video, really.
Yeah.
But then it's interspliced with this very, very, very indie-looking shooter. And it's like it was misjudged, that trailer. It was just so stark going from part of that trailer to the gameplay side.
Yeah.
And I think those kinds of things are just a bit of a problem when you're trying to convince more people to get into it. And this is, by the way, I'm not saying having a go at any of the developers that are showing stuff here at all. I'm really not. What I'm saying is, when we're commenting on this, at least when I'm commenting on this, we try to look at it from like almost like a bird's eye view of where VR is right now and how can we get more people in and what can be shown to show how great VR is. And this wasn't a great showcase to get more people in.
No.
And that's all it comes down to. These developers are making games that hopefully a lot of people will enjoy anyway. And it's nothing against the developers themselves. It's more about the fact that they're working within such limited resources, limited confines of budget, amount of people that they can get to work on these things, and all of these other things. But just looking at it from bird's eye view, it's difficult to accept that this is the state of VR 8 years after we got into it. 2016, I would have been defending this stuff completely. And I would have said, look, give it time, give it a chance to grow. And now, 8 years later, we've got this kind of showcase. And I look back at 2016, 2017, 2018, and I think, actually, the games were better back then, a lot of the time.
They were way better back at when the Rift first came out. You had, Lone Echo, you had Kronos, you had Edge of Nowhere, all sort of like original OG Rift games. Every single one annihilates anything on this list.
Yeah, and that's the issue.
Easily.
It's Meta invested a lot back then in PC VR titles. And it was all PC back then. So this is the problem as well. It's Quest. Yeah.
And it's like, it's kind of depressing. The one of the first games that actually came up, I actually thought did look nice from a sort of a very different artistic point of view, and that's that. Hang on, I'll pop the trailer up. Maestro.
Oh,
It's a rhythm game. And this is one of the first ones I looked and I saw this. I thought, oh well, that's got a definite unique look to it.
Yeah.
And it's been out before.
It's been on App Lab. Yeah, I think.
That's where I've seen it. Yeah,
because if you look from what the really early versions, it seemed to be a more modern type thing with a more modern maybe orchestra and stuff. From what I could see when I was trying to find the trailer, and I don't know. It's just got a very unique and. I don't know. I thought it's got a really nice sort of look to it.
It does, yeah. This was one of the first ones shown, wasn't it? And it definitely looked great.
It was, and I thought, oh, we could be in for a decent sort of showing of stuff.
Yeah.
And then sort of everything afterwards, from a visual point of view, or a lot of the stuff anyway, it kind of sort of went downhill.
Yeah, I will say that one looked like a decent game, certainly. So that's available on Quest, and it's also Steam VR as well. So presumably that trailer is the going to be the PC version anyway.
Probably.
But yeah, it looked good, and it's not my kind of game, but I think.
Yeah, it's like a Beat Saber type thing, but you're moving your hands like you're like a maestro, basically, left, right, up, down, things like that. And I might be interested in something like that, kind of like a slow-paced synth riders.
I think a lot of people that played the early demo of it enjoyed it. I've heard good things about it. Just going down this list, the ones we've highlighted. So there was this pencil mix, because there was one thing to mention as well. At the beginning of this showcase, there was a lot of mixed reality stuff being shown, which would turn a lot of people off, I think. And it was the problem is as well, the mixed reality stuff, it was more like very small experiences. There was one on there, like Missile Command on. Did you see that, Rog?
I did actually. And my first thought was, why hasn't anybody done this before? It's one of those games where you see it, don't you? You think that is just so obvious. How come nobody's done it?
And that's one game that I think would work really well with hand tracking, actually, because he was just pinching the area that you want them to go to. But one of the other mixed reality games that stuck out to me, it's not really a game, it's called Pencil, so it's like a tutorial. It seems like a sketching tutorial thing. And the reason this stuck out to me is because it would scan your room, it would give you like an outline to trace, to learn how to draw different things.
Oh, this looks really good. I think my daughter loved this. Sorry, this is the first time I'm seeing these videos, so it's like I'm actually watching the highlight reel of the Upload VR showcase.
But
Yeah, she'd love
the
something
interesting
like
thing
this.
you'll see in this trailer is you'll see this outline, but then she moves the paper slightly, and the outline in mixed reality will follow where she's moved the paper. It's tracking the paper itself, it seems, anyway. So you can move the paper around, and the outline will move with your sketch that you've already half drawn. I think this, it's not a game, I don't think. It's just like a tutorial thing, but it looked pretty interesting.
This is sorry, Gary. This is a really cool idea from what I'm seeing on the video. I wouldn't even thought of something like this. But for mixed reality, I could definitely see this one being quite popular.
Yeah, like you said, I think my daughter...
Just a chilled out, relaxing thing. Even if you can't draw, you can just do something like this.
Yeah, I think my daughter would like to give this a try as well. So it was just one that stuck out to me. In all the mixed reality stuff that I saw, this was one of the better ones anyway. But yeah, Thrasher, you've highlighted this, Rog, which I know you've mentioned before anyway, like a Thumper sequel or spiritual successor.
It's the same developer. I don't think it's a totally different game by the look of it.
Right. Okay.
And it's the gutting thing here. It's coming out on Quest. It's coming out on Steam later this year, but in July it's out on Quest and it's out on Apple Vision Pro as well. But there's no PSVR mentioned anywhere for any release at all. And it's Thumper on PSVR 2 was the best version. It's the best way to play it, but just because of the OLEDs, and it was native. I don't know if it was native 90. I think it might have been a native 120 game. It was just really good on PSVR 2. So, I'm sort of looking forward to this. My only worry is when you sort of look at it, is like you're controlling the snake going around collecting stuff, and I'm having flashbacks to people playing with their Nokia phones.
Yeah.
It's like, is it anything more than basically a modern day snake?
Yeah.
Is the slight worry, but I'm sure visually in the headset it's going to look amazing. So,
it's interesting. They're doing.
Yep. Can you hear me? Sorry.
You?
Hello.
I thought.
Yeah, can you hear that? Sorry, that's my alarm on my phone telling me to take a tablet. I do apologise. Ever the professional.
I literally just picked my phone up then.
I couldn't hear it because I got headphones on. So sorry, everyone.
Oh dear.
So it's interesting though. I was going to say that they've chosen to release it on Apple Vision Pro and not PSVR 2. That's a weird decision, isn't it?
Now, a lot of people have been going, but it's because it's got hand tracking. You can play this entirely with hand tracking, but it is optional. It fully supports controllers as well, and it's got to because they're releasing it on Steam.
Right.
And the Quest one lists like tracked controllers or hand tracking. So it's that is not a limitation of why it can't be on PSVR 2 because you could just play with the controllers. But to release on AVP and not release on PSVR 2, that's. Yeah.
They might announce it at a later date. You never know. Anyway,
maybe.
Is this similar to the game that I played at yours, Rog? What's the one with all the dancing colours? And I said it's very psychedelic, and the one that you were
Res Infinite. Yeah. Is it
similar thing to that?
This is something entirely different. This looks more like it's played on a. It almost looks like it's played on a 2D plane.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because you seem to be guiding that sort of snake serpent thing around and colliding it into stuff. But it seems to be done on a fixed... I don't know whether it is or not, but it seems to be on more like, the gameplay is on a fixed plane in front of you. But I don't know. But yeah, did I put 25th of July, is it?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's not much. I think it's like, it's sub 15 quid, I think. It's not a lot.
Okay. Yeah.
It's not an expensive one.
The next one I highlighted on the list is one we've actually played, is Miracle Pool. Which has just come out on Quest. I played this when it was the free version on App Lab or SideQuest, whatever it was. I can't remember now. I played the full version of the game a couple of days ago, and I think it's great. I really like this. I think they've got the ball physics down perfectly. It's a game of pool, but they've got a lot of different modes in there. You've got obviously your practice. You can play through around 10 sort of AI opponents of increasing difficulty. Then you can obviously got multiplayer as well in there. Then you've got daily challenges as well. There's a lot of stuff that goes into this, and I picked it up it was discounted, I think, when I pre-ordered it. So I think, what is it, £10, something like that, £15 maybe. I don't know the actual cost, but it's around that anyway. It's not an expensive game.
No.
It's fully mixed reality, and if I choose the smaller table, I can just about fit it in my living room and get around most of it. But you can also rotate it. You can grab it and move it into different positions as well if you've got a smaller play space. But yeah, I really, really do like this, and it just harks back to the fact that the amount of time I spent in Sports Bar VR, whatever that was called. I can't even remember what that was called back when I first got my Vive, when it was first released on. That's a Steam VR game, Sports Bar. It was called something else originally, and then they changed the name because they added all these extra things to do in there. Originally, it was only Pool. Might have just been Pool Bar VR. I can't even remember now for some reason. But it's got a very similar mechanic to that. So you'll sort of aim your shot, and then you'll press the trigger to lock your front hand in place, the one that you're sort of resting the cue on, so that won't move, and then you can take your shot. And it works in exactly the same way as that, really, and it works really well with inside-out tracking. That's the thing. A lot of these games, I've tried a few games, pool games on Quest. There was a 8-ball or something like that. I didn't.
Yeah, it was called. I've just been doing a bit of research, Gary. Believe it or not, for the first time ever. It was called. There's one called Black Hole Pool, and that was actually it's made by the same developer and publisher as well. So I wonder if it's like an arc of that, because they did Black Hole Pool. Played it way back on my channel with Welsh Gamer, and then they started to do another game, which was like a snooker game, I think. So, but then they went back to development of Black Hole Pool, and I'm not sure if you can still get that. I think you can, but obviously the Miracle Pool one is just in mixed reality, isn't it?
I remember playing Black Hole Pool, and that was the VR. You could play that in VR.
Yeah. That's the one that I almost said foul because I was playing with Welsh Gamer and I thought I'd touched the red ball in my hand and I went, oh, dude, sorry, foul.
Yeah.
And I was like, what am I talking about? I can't touch the red balls.
But yeah, I just felt like that didn't feel as good. Like the queuing mechanic didn't work as well in that one for whatever reason. From memory, anyway, I can't remember exactly what it was now. But
I think it was the pull cue action because your hand was going behind you. It wasn't picking up the tracking rings and that, wasn't it? But I think with this one, it's a bit better, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it just works. Yeah. It's like almost perfect. Even though it can't track it, it's using the IMUs. It just really works well for me in this. And you can hold the cue in a natural way. And Forever Pool, I think you picked that up, didn't you, Rog? Forever Pool. And one of the things with that put me off buying it is because people have to play it with both controllers in front of them. So you're not holding the cue in a natural way. So I don't want to play it like that, and this one just seems to work for me. But yeah, I know you've got some opinions on this as well, Rog. What do you think?
I think I've not got enough room to play it.
Yeah, I haven't.
This is I mean, I know you can like pick the table up and grab it and rotate it around and move it and everything, but the whole thing with it is it does look like you've got a pool table in your room, and it's convincing to the point that. It's not very often. One of those things happened again. At one point, I tried to squeeze myself between my wall and the pool table just for a second. And my brain went, I need to... And I was moving to try and get between the two. And obviously, I thought, what am I doing? The problem is you need a lot of space unless you want the pool table clipping through your walls or through your furniture or through anything else in your room, which I can't stand when you get that mismatch. Yeah. You get that depth mismatch of something real and something virtual sort of fighting sort of like for positional space. It just doesn't work. And for me, I'd need the room to be able to sort of put the table down and have room to walk around it. And unless I pushed one of my sofas back against the wall and made my other sofa disappear entirely, I've just not got the room to do it. And I did try playing it by grabbing the table and moving the table around so I could, get a shot. And no, from a visual point of view, my brain just can't cope with that at all. Because half the time the pool table was sort of projecting into the wall, and it annoyed me so much that
you can make it smaller though, right? You can make the table
this was the small one.
But even making
this was the small version.
I couldn't get around it in my room.
This was the small version of the table I was using as well. You need space really to get the most out of it. For me to be able to comfortably sort of give an opinion on the actual game itself, I'd need a full virtual environment, and I'd want to be able just to teleport or free locomote around the table in a fully virtual environment. So I'm not getting this like depth conflict between virtual and real objects.
Yeah.
So it's just not a game for me. I just can't stand it. The table looks great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I was sort of stood back a bit looking at it and thinking, wow, if Quest Pass-Through was just like, I don't know, 3 times better than it was, this would look absolutely amazing because the table looked really good, although there's some really bad angles on the inside pockets. You can really see the polygons on the inside pockets. It's like, oh, that looks a bit off. But overall, from visually, you just stand back and look at the table and it's like, yeah, it does look good.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that on the pockets, but I wonder if they could do like an update to have a VR mode as well, because I think that would work quite well. Because if you use the right thumbstick, you can just rotate the table in your play space, and usually you can get round to an angle with that, but it's difficult. I mean, in my front room with a smaller one, I can just about fit it in, just about. I still need to rotate it in certain positions to get certain angles on shots. But I understand when it starts clipping through walls and things like that. Because originally on the App Lab version, I'm pretty sure I played with a larger table. I don't know if they had a smaller table option. And with that one, of course, it's clipping through walls in my room. And it is distracting. I will say that. But I think for the price of the game and what they're offering in there, multiplayer, everything, it's got a lot of stuff. I think it's great, to be honest. And if you can get over that clipping thing, or you've got a really, a larger play area for it to not even be a concern, then you're okay.
I mean, super quick as well. If anyone wants to watch that video of me playing Black Hole Pool, which was like the OG game, and you don't have to watch it all, it's about 5 minutes long, I think, but just go and view my shot on the black and then tell me in the comments I'm not a cinematic genius.
There's a little tease. Well, I'm going to go and see that as well after this show. Got me.
Just watch the shot on the black and then tell me what you think.
Okay. One of the other ones, Convergence, as well, that was shown. This was another one that just jumped out to me. This is by the developer of Paradox of Hope, who was given a cease and desist by the Metro developers, I believe, because...
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
So this is the game that they've pivoted to. It's called Convergence, and it looks pretty decent. I don't know really a lot about it. In some ways, it reminds me of Into the Radius, because when you...
I might say that.
It's got some of that vibe about it, but I don't know what the actual game is, because the original, of course, was based on like Metro, and that might still be the overall vibe of this one. I'm not sure. But it just looked interesting. Out of all of the trailers that were popping out, this was one that just stuck out to me anyway. But
look, it looks real nice. For those that are watching on YouTube, the atmosphere and the lighting looks all right. Really decent.
I think that Into the Radius thing is coming from that, like when it's outside, like that fog in the distance and things like that.
Oh, yeah. And things in the very, very similar. I don't want to be careful. Don't get a cease and desist from them.
Yeah. What did you think of this, Roger? You got any interest in this one? Or
I never played. I tried playing the original Metro game once, and I don't know what it. Oh, I do remember what it was. What stopped me when it first came out. I wasn't happy with the performance, so it was one of those games where it was. I'll leave that late until there's some better hardware around. And I did try again later on, and I just never really got into it, and I never played any of the other ones. And I don't know, it's also had a bit of a stalker type vibe, and I just never really liked those games either. So it's, I'm not that fussed, in all honesty. I know these games really sort of appeal to people, but sort of stalker.
I can't say I'm completely different from your opinion on it. Really, it's just that when we had all of these other kinds of trailers that were popping out, this one stuck.
This one was one of the better ones.
Yeah. The other one, which was a bit like that for me as well, is this Ember Souls. I don't know if you saw this. It looked, there were some parts of it that looked great, and then you get into the combat with the enemies and the enemy animations and things like that later in the trailer, maybe a little bit indie-ish as well.
Like
sort of Prince of Persia, Asgard's Wrath. Yeah,
that's it. I think the Prince of Persia thing is it's what sort of
and Falcon Age as well.
Yeah. But if you look at the combat later on in the trailer, where you've got these enemies, they just don't seem to look quite right in terms of the animations and stuff. But it was still it's still shown
with Assassin's Creed going off now.
Still shown enough that I thought this is probably one to look out for at least. So we'll see what.
Yeah, it looks interesting. It's a bit of puzzle game element, a bit of all sorts, bit of Tomb Raider, bit of Assassin's Creed.
The thing is, if you just watch these ones we're looking at, you might think, what were we talking about saying that the showcase looked crap? But we've sort of...
These are picking...
we have cherry-picked them, haven't we?
Yes, yeah. There's a lot in between each of these, which...
I can see what you mean by the combat as well.
Yeah. I don't, it's difficult to tell until you try these things. We're only giving sort of initial impressions on it. And like I say, this was one of the better trailers out the whole showcase, so it's not really anything bad.
It's the thing with all these trailers, though. They're all super early access, and like you said, it'll say things like not content, not content final, game shown, and things like that, and it could improve so much before we even get to them. This is the thing with Next Fest and that. And now when a Next Fest demo comes out, I just think I'm not playing it because I'm not going to like it. And then I don't want to already have bad opinions of the game before they've fully released it and fixed all the things that they've brought out in that. So
I'm done.
It's just it's good to see all the game lists coming out, but I'm glad I didn't have to watch all the things that you were talking about.
Next Fest, you bring that up. I'm done with it. I'm not trying at anything because it either, like you say, Lee, either puts me off or I'm just not having fun in there. They've not optimized them off the time. It's too early to show some of those games as well, and it just frustrates me. So
I think if anything, it's detrimental to them showing them on there. I just leave it. Just don't even put them on there.
But that's pretty much all I've got highlighted. There was Madison VR coming out on Quest as well, which... I
saw that. Do you know what I immediately thought of that? Is I can't get it to run on my PC, so I don't know how they're going to optimize that for Quest. I have no idea.
It'll be interesting, see what it looks like. But any other thoughts on the Upload VR showcase anyway?
No.
All right. So that was it anyway, and we'll see what happens. I think they, overall, like the production of it was better than it has been with this audio quality and things, but it's just they can only show what they can show and what developers are working on, and it's just difficult. It's where we are in VR. Even after 8 years, we're still early stages, it seems. So.
But saying that, I mean, I don't think it's on the dock or anything, but do you guys see someone somewhere had leaked that Meta was trying some sort of VR cloud gaming system? Yeah. And one of the games that popped up was actually Lone Echo.
Yeah, but they tried clicking on it, didn't they? But it wouldn't run.
Yeah. But if it's something they're working on the pipeline, I think that's a great idea. Yeah. I know I'd pay a subscription to be able to play Lone Echo, just streams directly to my headset. Yeah. And maybe if they can get some other games going, get some Half-Life Alyx in there, maybe some sort of collab with Steam.
Well, I think if they're doing that, if that might sort of allude some kind of investment in more high-quality PC VR games as well, possibly. I mean,
I would hope so. Because they've not really got that many to play, really, is there? That's going to be really great. Your Lone Echoes and a few others, Asgard's Wrath and things. But if it gives the option of playing them without the need of a PC... then perhaps, like you say, we could see more PC VR games being developed for that kind of thing.
If they're offering that service and then decide to invest in that side of the service, then it could point to it. This is sort of several steps away, really. Yeah,
very early days,
yeah. But, so this next up, we've got this VOY tunable prescription lenses that you've tried out, Rog. What are these?
Yeah, okay, so this... I saw an article on, is it Scarred Ghost website?
Yeah. For
some tunable prescription lenses, which was like, oh, wow, okay, so not seen anything like this before. It sort of intrigued me. So I reading the article, I'm thinking, surely these are going to cost quite a bit of money, given like how much you'd pay for a set of lenses. I thought, tunable, so basically adjustable within a certain prescription lenses. So I went to the website, and it's like $60. Then I thought, I'll be cheeky. And I don't think I've ever sort of reached out to any sort of hardware manufacturer before. I mean, being offered stuff before, but this is the first time I sort of thought, I'll give them an email. So I wanted to test them. And I got an email back saying, yeah, we'll send you some. So thank you very much to Voy for sending me out a set of these prescription lenses to test. And they are what they say on the tin, really. They're a set of lenses that you whack into your Quest 3 or your Quest. There's available for Quest 2 as well. And I forgot what other headset it was. It was a headset. I thought, what's that? So I can't exactly remember. But for anybody,
was it like some sort of Windows mixed reality thing or something similar?
I can't recall now.
I remember you saying when it was, and I was like, why are they making
that? Yeah, it was bizarre. But anyway, yeah, so for Quest 2 or 3, and yeah, they're adjustable lenses. So instead of using prescription lenses, you can whack these in, sort of, there's little sliders on the side. You move them up to the number, what indicates your prescription, and away you go. I've not seen anything like this before. And I've got mixed feelings on them, in all honesty. First of all, yes, they work, which you'd hope they would. But the first thing that I noticed when I tried them, which was really bizarre, and you'll know what I'm talking about, Gary, in that I thought, the first time I put the headset on with these on was, I suddenly thought of PSVR 2, or PSVR even, in the fact that near-field objects seemed more 3D than normal.
Oh, right.
And we've talked about this before, where we said, like, you know, if you're like playing Gran Turismo or something, the steering wheel and in a PSVR, it looked more solid, more 3D than it will in like a, you know, in a PC headset. It's just like, and it's like this. I don't know. It just, everything near field felt more 3D, but it also felt larger. And I think the magnification on these, there's some sort of maybe slight magnification going off that makes things look bigger. It's really strange. But yeah, the immediate thought was it felt more like using a PSVR headset than using a normal PC headset, to my eyes anyway. And yeah, they're adjustable lenses. If you've got people in your family who all use glasses and who all use a headset, this could be a solution for you. And I say it could be a solution because there is a caveat. You can change the diopter, so you can change basically the spherical number. When you get, if you don't know, when you get a glasses prescription, there's 3 numbers. The spherical value, the cylinder, and the axis, I think, from the top of my head. Now, the axis and the cylinder numbers sort of come more into play if you've got an astigmatism, which basically is a distortion in the curvature of your lens or your eye, I think. Yeah,
your eye shape's more rugby ball shape with an astigmatism, so it refracts the light different, so they have to correct for that.
So the house. Those numbers between my left and right eye are different, so I assume, and I genuinely don't know whether, I presume I have, I don't know. But my left and eye numbers are quite radically different. So I could dial the left hand eye, I could dial in pretty much okay, but it felt like there was something off. This is not a fault of the lenses, it's just the fact I suppose it's, you know, I've got an astigmatism, so it can't correct for that. And it does tell you that in the FAQ. But my right eye, I could dial in perfectly. That looked perfectly sharp and crisp and didn't feel off. But it was good enough I could use them and test them anyway. But yeah, if you've got multiple people in a household who need glasses and use a Quest, this could be a solution. Would I use these over a prescription set of lenses? Probably not, no. And especially if you've got an astigmatism, no, then go for a proper prescription set of lenses. But, you know, in some use cases, they could be fine. I don't know what else to say about them, really. The work, they do stick out further.
Do they reduce like field of view, have you noticed, or anything like that?
This is a weird thing. Within my normal prescription lenses, I can clearly see the binocular overlap in the Quest 3. With these, I couldn't. But it didn't feel like my vision had been reduced. But maybe that magnification was also missing with my thought process there as well. Because you'd need to see it to really fully understand what I'm talking about. It's one of those things, it's really weird it's difficult to explain. So it didn't really feel like it did, but I couldn't see that binocular overlap sort of, say, pattern with these lenses. So I don't know whether it reduced the field of view or not. It didn't feel like it, but I've got a feeling it might have done. They are thicker than the normal lenses, but they have to be, because basically there's 2 lots of lenses on each one. There's like a fixed lens, and then there's one what slides up and down over it, what adjusts your prescription, basically. Yeah. So they do stick out further. It's, if you need, like I say, if you need to be able to adjust the prescription for multiple people in your family, or I was thinking maybe if you're at a trade show or you offered like demonstrations of stuff to people who maybe would normally need to use glasses, this could be an option as well. I don't know.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
You know, I'm pretty sure they do have a returns policy. And don't take this for, I'm trying to remember off the top of my head now because I did read through their FAQ on there. I think you can send them back, probably at your own cost, but I think you can send them back if you don't need, if you don't want them. But these are not custom designed for you. They're mass produced. So, I suppose they can take them back and be able to, to use them elsewhere because they are not custom designed.
Yeah.
Or they're not to bespoke to any specific person, should I say?
Yeah. Probably why they're the price they are. Sorry, it's just because they can mass produce them and they're one fixed unit, aren't they? So they can send them out like that.
That's why they don't cost loads and loads. Because I was thinking about that and I'm thinking, why are they $60? And then obviously, because it's a production line.
Yeah.
They do come in two different versions. There's one what goes from a plus to a minus diopter, and then the other one which is just for minus diopters but gives an increased range, which is the ones I got. Because originally we thought, oh, well, you can test them out, can't you, Lee? But yours is a plus.
Yeah, I'm opposite.
Yeah, you've got the opposite.
Yeah,
so
test them,
so Lee would need the other set that they actually do. I mean, check the FAQ that you can actually send them back if they're not for you. I don't know what else I can say about them, really. They're fine. I have gone back to my prescription lenses because why wouldn't I? Because they are for my eyesight.
Yes, yeah.
Would I be using these if I didn't have prescription lenses? Probably, yes, because I couldn't use a Quest without them.
Yeah, sounds like the more for if you need to, like you mentioned, really, it's for if you want to quickly alter these for multiple people at any one time. So they've probably got the use, but if you've got prescription lenses, they won't be a replacement for that. It sounds like anyway.
If you've got an astigmatism, then yes, go for custom prescription lenses, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
But thanks to Voy for sending those out, and also for there were no expectations on how these would be reviewed or anything like that. And I just want to point this out as well, because I did say this last time about having no restrictions on reviewing stuff. The reason I did point this out before is because there are companies out there, even who would send out something what would only maybe cost $50 or whatever, who want to put restrictions on how you review a product, how it's photographed, how it's shot, how it's videoed, how long the video is. And it's just something to be aware of when you're watching or listening to a review from people who get things basically for free. And like I say, I don't think even getting these with no restrictions on on any comments I make about it, I still sort of subscribe to Anthony's old view of there's no way you can't be influenced.
Oh, yeah. That
you would, because there's anything you're 50-50 on, you'd probably more likely to give the benefit of the doubt.
This is a problem as well. It's like if we were ever to want to get people on who like sponsorships or advertising or anything like that, it's always going to play a part no matter what. Even if it's like, how can you have a sponsorship for something? You can't then have any kind of review or any valid opinion you can share with other people on it. It's always, this is not a sponsorship. They sent it as to test out and then say what we want about it. If they want them back at the end of the day, then they get it back. That's how it always really works. But it's difficult, and I agree. Even if it's like game keys. To be honest, there's going to be part of it where you get a game key, and like Anthony, I mean, this goes back to what you just said, Rog. It's what Anthony said. Really, you get a game key, even if you feel you're being 100% honest in your honest opinions about it. There's a very small part of unconscious bias that is going to play a part in anything. So it's difficult, but I mean, we don't get offered very much anyway. We'll get offered game keys and stuff like that, but it's like we can categorically say we will never do anything where it's going to be where we get something for free and we have to paint it in a certain light or anything like that. And I don't know if that happens very often or not, to be honest. I don't know if it does, but
I think people listening to this podcast for a long time or watching on YouTube would know that we definitely don't do things like that. We call a spade, and if things are good, we'll say it's good. But,
well, that's just why I want to point out, because like I say, with Globular Cluster or with Voy in this case, there was no expectations of how, of how it would be reviewed or, when even it would be reviewed. The only thing I said was, can I have some of these? I'd like to cover them on the podcast. So their only expectation was, it'll get
that's
covered.
I think that's our most.
That's how it should be. And I don't know if you remember, Gary, but there was. I mean, won't name the actual thing because there's no way another content creator might have got offered a different deal. But we did get offered some prescription lenses ages ago, and we turned them down because they wanted specific things.
Yeah.
Well, I've seen people bring stuff out, haven't I? I'm not digging any content creator out.
Go on.
I messaged you when I Roger and I said, no, I'm not saying the person's name, but it's
the problem is
they've reviewed something and I've gone to Rog. Have they played the same game we have? Because they've not said any of the negative things that we're going to talk about.
Yeah. It's
sponsored videos.
And the problem is...
If you do want to sponsor us, drop us an email at recenteredpodcast@gmail.com and hit us up with your ideas.
The problem is a bigger content creator might not get any same restrictions.
No, exactly. I'm sure they don't.
If somebody's got thousands and thousands or tens of thousands of followers, a company's just going to want their product on there, aren't they?
Yeah.
If they sent something to us, they might think, these guys aren't very big. We're going to want at least something decent out of it, so we expect a certain thing. So it's not necessarily the same.
No.
But anyway, if you want to have a look at the prescription lenses, voidglasses.com, and they're on there for Quest 2, 3, and the other heads that I can't actually remember.
No, it don't matter. They're the main ones.
Talking about marketing and genius things like that. The 90% madness that's been going up on Twitter, if anyone's aware of, it's I think it started with Max Mustard, right, Rog?
It was Max Mustard that started it off here.
With an offer for 90% off their game. Type the code in when you go to redeem the code, and then it was like £3, right? And it got them to #1 on the Quest chart. Yeah. So that's pretty genius marketing. And then that kind of started a bit of an avalanche.
Everybody and their dog.
People to do.
Yeah, suddenly there were 90. Yeah. I've got so many games recently in my library now over the past couple of weeks, and I've spent maybe about 20 quid in credit, in store credit. Yeah.
And I've seen some for about 56% codes and stuff, and I was saying to you when I watched, if it's not 90%, I'm not getting it.
But no, I mean, this all came about, wasn't it? Because it jumped straight up to the top of the charts and presumably then got a load of sales just by the publicity and just being at the top of the charts. That was it. So a load of people else tried it. I think I don't know, it must be getting diminishing returns at some point, you would think, but...
I don't know how long these offers are on for. I think they may have all done now, but I think the genius one I saw was... Did I send you the link to the TikTok of what Sushi Ben did? The developer of Sushi Ben, it was on about, I've had to move back in my mum's basement. I'm going to start doing this to it, start doing that. I need to move these tables over, get my computer over here. And he says, let me just put the light on. I just need to flick the light switch on so you can see. And as you go to the light switch, there's a 90% discount code above the light switch. You can just see for a split second and he switches the light switch on and just carries on talking. I thought that was genius.
I didn't see that.
Very clever. A few upcoming games as well coming out with, instead of like the usual 10% discount when you buy, which is pointless because when you buy it, you can just get a 25% discount. Now they're offering 33%. I can't remember which game it was. I've seen one or two saying pre-order 33% discount.
Yeah, I've not seen that either. I didn't know. Maybe unless Miracle Paul was that, because I'm sure that was. I don't know. I don't want to get into the prices because I don't know them. But just talking about the referral thing as well, because they seem to be heavily restricting that now, which makes sense because everybody was getting, basically, if you wanted a game, you were going to get 25% off no matter what, because these referral codes were everywhere. So it seems to be that they are limiting it to 3 referral codes per game now. Is that correct? Is that what you've heard? Or
yeah, I believe so. I mean, I did realise to be like 10, wasn't it? I think I first realised this when I had Dungeons of Eternity and I had 10 people. Yeah. And then I gave it to somebody else and they said, no, I can't. It's not working. It says you've reached the limit. I went, really? So then when it worked out, it was 10. And then I think it went down a bit more. Yeah. But then I asked you for a game. What game was it, Rog? I think I asked both you and Gary and you both gave it me. And I said, no, it's saying that I can't redeem it. The limit's been reached. And you said, what? I've only given it to 3 people. Yeah. And some of the codes I've got coming in, I had a referral code off Welsh Gamer for I Am Cat.
I've got that.
And I think it made the game like 8 quid.
Yeah, I got it because my daughter loves it. But there's not a lot of content on that one yet. She's desperate. Yeah,
no, I know it's only a short one. Yeah, I think it's less than 2 hours. But then I put the code out on that GitHub page thing or something, and I've had 3 people use it. So that's going to give me £12 in credit. So I've paid £8 for the game, and now I've got a game, and now I'm up in money. I totally get where they're coming from. It makes sense. I mean,
they
must be losing a hell of a lot of money.
I've got no nothing against them for doing this. It's ridiculous what they had going on there, and it just makes you think it can't be sustainable when you, like you say, Lee, you're getting more money back than you paid for the game originally, and presumably all these other people will put their codes up, and I don't really have a problem with it, but
it seems entirely about getting into the top seller list on the Quest site, because is it Ben Lang, is it Road to VR?
Yes, yeah.
He put a tweet out saying, "Oh, look at all these indie games doing well, getting into the top sellers on Quest." To which I replied, "Yeah, but 5 of those are only there because this past week they've done 90% discounts.
Yeah,
that's the only reason those games are actually even there."
I just feel like if everybody does this, it's like a fad that just can't last forever. They can't do this forever. It just won't work, because the more developers that try to do it, the more competition there's going to be for that top spot anyway. Yeah. So it'll sort of balance out in the end, I would imagine. But
yeah, I'm sure some of them must have done well, because if they're going to get into that top spot and that discount code only lasts for maybe a few days or however long they've set it for, there's going to be other people who aren't aware of those codes.
Yeah.
We're going to go into the store and think, "Oh, I wonder what's selling well. Oh, wow, look at these. I've not seen these before. They must be good."
Yeah.
And then they're going to buy it at full price.
Well, I think the first person that did it was Max Mustard, the developers of that, wasn't it? Yeah. So, and they said, I heard somewhere that they said that basically it might have been on the Between Realities podcast where that he was being interviewed for. He said it was just about worthwhile for them, but it won't be worthwhile for all developers to do it. Something along those lines anyway. So yeah, it's difficult. You're losing a lot of money on certain sales, but then perhaps gaining it back just by being at the top of the sales charts. Yeah. And like I say, like he said, it might work for some, might be of detriment to others. So I don't see it lasting.
Yeah. No. Well, I mean, in some cases it was like, what the hell's this game? Was it like Sushi Ben or whatever it was? It's like never heard of it before. All of a sudden, it's a top seller.
Yeah. Okay, but sticking with the Meta store anyway, we'll get onto the Meta Quest updates, because there's been a couple of updates since our last episode. There's V66 and V67, and the big things in each of these. So in V66 there was this update to the pass-through, and it stopped everything warping around your hands when you move your hands in front of stuff. And then V67 allows for these multiple windows, for app windows to be placed all around your space. I think you can have up to 6 app windows. You can place them anywhere, so you can have a browser playing Netflix or whatever. Yeah, so I got the V67 this morning. Is anybody else on V66 or V67?
I was about to say, I wondered if I've got V67, because earlier on this morning I had my Quest turn itself off, even though it was just sat there on the side. It had the little jingle it plays as it powers down. But I've got it set so that it can power up and update over Wi-Fi whenever it wants to. Because it just keeps all my games up to date, and it's just like, it's just easier. So I did actually wonder if I've got it, but I've not actually checked. I did have the V66 with the sub-update enabled to sort the warping, and that is just such a massive difference. It's ridiculous. It's so good compared to before. But it's just
it's near enough spot on, right? Yeah. It's near enough spot on. Like you say, you're going to say there's a slight problem with it. I don't know if it's been fixed with the patch.
Yeah, the virtual the white hand overlay that you get over your actual hand.
Yeah.
It's like, it's off. It feels like it's inside my hand and not depth correct. And it just feels really weird. Before, it was pretty much okay and aligned. With V66, it feels off. But the warp, I mean, I can get my phone and look at my phone through the headset. Yeah. And before, all the corners of the phone would like literally warp and bend inwards towards the screen, towards my view. It looked really bad. And now it's like 98% fine. There's if I angle my phone slightly, there's a slight curve, but you've got to look for it. Yeah. If you're just using stuff normally, it's just gone. It's
it's a massive difference. Yeah. Huge. I mean, I only got it last week. I think I basically loaded it up, just tried it very quickly in mixed reality before me and Rod jumped in some walkabout mini golf on the new map. But yeah, my hands looked so clear in front of my face. It was just like I was looking at them for real. But I've not got the V67.
Yeah, quick question for you, Lee. Because you've tried the Apple Vision Pro, how would you say like the pass-through compares now to the Apple Vision Pro? Because the reason I ask is, go on.
No, I know what you mean, because I still think it's a lighting situation. I think if I tried the Apple Vision Pro here in my house and then tried the Quest 3 in the same environment, I don't think there'd be that much of a difference. It's just the quality of what you're looking at on the Apple Vision Pro is a lot sharper and a lot clearer. You know, for the apps, what come up in the windows, and when you load those up, it's just so super clear. But yeah, I still think it's lighting dependent. Anyone knows, anyone with cameras, things like that, lighting's key for all of that. But from what we had originally, which was so bad, and to what we've got now, they've done a massive, vast update. But the reason they're doing these updates is because of the Apple Vision Pro. Like you said, with the V67, that's come out. Not because they've thought, oh, what a great idea it would be to do this. It's because Apple's done it. So now Meta's doing it cheaper.
It seems like
to say. So I hope that answered your question, Gary.
Well, the reason I asked about the pass-through is Mash, who's got Eric from Q2C, he's got an Apple Vision Pro, he's got a Quest 3, and I listened to one of his shows last week, and he was saying that basically there's not that much difference now between the pass-through. And just incidentally, I've booked a demo. You mentioned yesterday, Rog, on Discord. Artful is booked a demo for the Apple Vision Pro, and I went on. I didn't realise you could book demos yet, but I've got a demo booked for July the 13th at the local Apple store in Leicester. So I'm going to go and give one a try anyway. But I was looking at the pass-through this morning, and I was thinking, this is really not that bad. And I wish I could go back to when the Quest 3 first launched and just have like an A to B to see how it is, because you get these gradual improvements and you don't know exactly. But it looks pretty good to me. And the V67, I went in last night into my Quest 3 and it wasn't there. It wasn't updated. And then this morning I went in, and like you, Rog, I just leave it on all the time anyway so it can update. And it was there this morning. But yeah, a great addition. I think this is one of the biggest UI additions to, because it's such an obvious thing. I don't understand why they wouldn't have had this anyway. And I'm sure this was on their roadmap to add in these multiple app windows and things like that. But it seems to be that Apple Vision Pro spurred them to get it there not long after the Apple Vision Pro launched. You know, we could say it's a coincidence, I don't know, but it's such an obvious thing that you can't believe that they wouldn't have had this on their roadmap anyway at some point. But yeah, I like it. I had like Netflix playing, and then I've got Google Documents open as well on a couple of, you know, different app windows. It does work really well.
So was you playing Netflix through the app or through a browser? Because apparently they're killing the app.
Yeah, they are.
And
because they've only recently updated the browser to actually work with Netflix as well. So I think that's maybe they're getting rid of their app entirely.
Do you know that the only thing I had with the Netflix on the browser, I mean, I'm not sure if it's 720p now or if it's 1080p, I'm not sure, but I know it's definitely higher than what the app was. The only thing is it's a curved screen, and I couldn't find any way to make it flat. There's no option to do that. I don't know if it's just
on
me.
The browser.
I mean,
there's no curved screen on the browser, no.
Yeah.
No.
Really? I could have sworn it opened up to a curved screen when I went full screen.
Oh, sorry, yeah, full screen maybe, yeah. Because,
so it's probably just full screen, it curves it, which I always find a little bit distracting. To say that I've got a curved monitor right now in front of me, but in VR I just prefer it to be in like a flat one.
What you can do is now, because I had about 4 windows open this morning and I had Netflix playing, and you can resize them, you can place them anywhere you want to place them, but they'll sort of lock into 6 positions if you want them to as well. But then if you sort of resize the Netflix one to be huge and set back from all the others, you can do that, and then you can full screen Netflix in that, and it won't take over all the other displays. You can make it do that if you want it to, or you can just have it like a full screen monitor basically, set against a backdrop of all these other ones. It's great. It's going to be great for me because now I don't need to connect remotely to my PC if I want to do certain things. I can do it all through the browser really on the Quest 3. So for me, it's great. I don't expect a lot of people to use it for this, and I don't think I will use it for this a huge amount, but it's sort of like these little stepping stones of getting to the point where, as you mentioned, Roger, in Discord, like the glasses, if you had this in the glasses form factor.
Yeah. I mean, you could anchor them in place as well, right? So you could anchor one in your kitchen above your cooker while you've got a cooking recipe on YouTube and something else in the living room and just walk around with a headset on. I like the idea of that. I do like the idea of that. Just going back very quickly to V66, when it first came out, you didn't show this on MetaConnect, but what I first thought when I first put it on is when all your fingers are warping and they're going really long and strange. It just kind of reminded me, you guys have seen Robocop, right? Where that bloke drives his van into all that acid and he comes out and all his things ringing off. And that's exactly what it's like for the Quest 3 when it first came out with the mixed reality. That's what I thought of straight away when I saw that.
Yeah.
But now it's been fixed, obviously.
Yeah, so, it's fixed, and it's a lot better. They are improving it a lot. I've got to say, I don't know how anyone can really complain about picking up a Quest 3 at this point. It's like, it's a great device, and think what you want about Meta, but as a piece of hardware, I think it's fantastic for the price that they're delivering it for what it can do.
And you can't get a Quest 2 nowadays anyway, right, Rog? They're all sold out.
They're sold out in the States, aren't there? I don't know about over here.
No, they're still for sale.
There might be.
God,
I don't know,
I'm sure there's a volcano going off somewhere, right?
Yeah, in the US, it's they're out of stock.
Wonder if the Quest 3S will be
imminent.
Yeah, never know. Connect, won't it, or whatever it is.
Yeah, at the latest, it's going to be Connect at the latest, definitely.
Yeah. Okay, we've done the referral thing. We've got a few topics still to get through. We're going to have to just rapid fire some of these, I think, to get through it. So anyway.
That's me blabbering on. Sorry, I mean, if you want to cut all the bit out at the beginning, you can. Me just talking
all blabbers,
rubbish.
I think. That's fine. So what's this? Logitech. Oh, yeah, the stylus for Quest 2 and 3. I don't know a lot about this one, but they're releasing like an Apple Pencil kind of edition for the Quest, aren't they? Logitech are.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know what it'll be used for, but it'll be interesting to see.
I'm sure it'll be great for creatives who are like into their art and stuff, and because I think it's pressure sensitive, isn't it? And it's got like a haptic thing in it and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I'm sure there'll be people out there looking forward to it. It's one of those things that not interested.
It's one it's one like a tracked stylus, which is interesting. I think various people have mentioned as well. Or there's been a rumor that Apple Vision Pro was sort of working on something similar to this kind of thing at one point, at least for that. So anyway, Quest Augments. Yeah, this is interesting. So this is something that they shown at the launch of the Quest 3.
Yeah.
And now it seems to be that they're abandoning it for the time being, just going back to the drawing board, which these augments were things that you could have where you first put your Quest on, and you would be in your pass-through environment, and then you'd have all of these things. You could place ornaments or a clock or even at like a pinball table on around your room if you wanted to, just to go in and play something or just provide some extra information before you went into a dedicated app. And it seems that they're not able to get this working in the way they want it to at this moment in time. So, Lee, what do you think of this? The augments, did they ever interest you?
Yeah, I was slightly disappointed about that. I don't know, because, I mean, I'm not really mixed reality much anyway, but what you're going to do, pop your headset on, and when it first loads up, you're going to have various windows open so you can see another planet or see Austria or see whatever up on your walls, and then you're going to launch your game within like a couple of seconds, aren't you? So I don't know really what they are for, apart from just to be a bit of a gimmick, to have something I don't know. I'm not really.
It feels like they were trying to put all the little knickknacks and stuff that you could get from Oculus Home, if you remember Oculus Home on your PC,
into your own home,
but have them in your own actual environment instead. But it seems to be getting them all running together, sort of multitasking, doesn't it? It's just not set up to be able to do it by the sound of it.
Yeah, I wonder if it's people that are just using sort of the mixed reality function, and like with the Windows, having separate app windows open using the browsers and stuff like that. And then I guess they can look over and see the augment still in the background if they want them for extra information. I mean, it really comes down to the point where how much information can you have? You've got 6 app windows open, and then you want extra stuff around you as well, all augmented reality, which, I mean, suppose that's the dream. But we'll see what happens with that, because I think it still sounds like they want to do it. It just doesn't seem to work at the moment in the way they want it to. So, and then moving on to another interesting thing, which I know very little about. I did watch the video on this on the website, but I didn't watch the tested video about Distance Technologies, who claim to be able to transform any transparent surface into a light field display. Rog, what you put this one in?
So, I saw the website first, and this was before AWE, this company, this Distance Tech, was claiming that they could, put basically a light field image onto any transparent surface, like a window or like a car windscreen or whatever. and they'd show nothing, and I didn't see anything immediately for what was coming out of AWE, but then Norm from Tested got a hands-on demo with it, and basically, it basically puts a 3D, a tracked 3D image, so it tracks you looking at it, so it's spatially correct, onto like a transparent surface. And that one of the big things will be, or the hope it will be, is like a car windscreen, so you've got like a head-up display. And Norm tests it. Basically, if you want to learn more, go and have a look at the Tested YouTube channel, and there's like a half an hour video on there or whatever. There's a lot of comments, a lot of people just not getting it, I don't think. Because there were a lot of comments of, imagine all the mixed reality stuff in your car, that's going to cause an accident. And it's obviously, this is not for playing games in your car while you're driving. Because this is going to be, if this happens at some point, it'll be heavily regulated about what you can and cannot do with that display. But the main thing would be, because they say that the images generated are tracked correctly per pixel depth-wise. So the obvious thing is, you could be driving along and your GPS directions could literally be mapped to the surface of the road in front of you.
Yeah.
This is the sort of thing. This is the thing what these sort of companies want to aim for. So you could have like a personalized sort of, GPS instead of like normal road marking, what's painted onto the road. You'd have virtual road markings painted on virtually onto the road with arrows saying go this way, go that way. Or maybe they'd have that, that racing line, what goes from green to yellow to red, going round the curve, so you know when to slow down, and hopefully you don't get confused, realise you're not playing, Forza, and think, I can take it, I can redline that around there. So it's interesting little video. Say Norm's stuff's always good.
So I will watch that, because I went onto their website just last night when I was looking through the show document, and like I say, on the website it's sort of so ambiguous about what they're actually talking about, or what they're you don't know what this technology is. They just talk about in all these sort of abstract terms, really. So talking about the sort of the eye tracking as well, there is this Inseye Lumi cameraless eye tracking add-on for Quest 2 and 3, which was, so I saw this is using traditional kind of eye tracking system within VR headsets. You have these infrared lights which reflect off your pupil, and then a camera picks up the position of your pupil based on this. This one works a little bit differently, and it's not very expensive as well. I think that it's $160, isn't it, this one? And the way it works is they're just using photosensitive photo sensors, basically. They're still using the IR illuminators to sort of shine into your eye. Then they're calculating the reflections with these photo sensors rather than a camera, which is much cheaper to do. And they can get it down to be pretty accurate, and also the latency is very low by doing it this way. So it seems like this is a interesting little development. We'll have to learn a little bit more about it and how it works in practice, but this will be great if developers use this kind of stuff within their games. That's what it comes down to, because apparently the developers will have to incorporate this Inseye SDK to utilize this, which obviously, depending on how many people pick it up, it's not going to be a huge market. So we'll see. But
I did read that it costs like $10 for the parts.
The components are I think some
components like $10.
Yeah, somebody said that, didn't they? Yeah.
So come on, Meta, get your finger out and get this company bought, and let's get it in Quest 4. Thank you.
The accuracy isn't quite as good as a camera tracking. It's like to within 2 millimeters, isn't it, or something? Whereas camera tracking get it sub 1 millimeter. But the thing is, with this thing, it runs at 1,000 hertz.
Yes, yeah.
So it's way faster, way more responsive than any camera tracking system out there, and it's a hell of a lot cheaper as well. Yeah,
it'd be interesting to try it and see how it works. I mean, that's what it comes down to, isn't it? It's great hearing all these numbers and stuff, but until you try it and then you see, actually, it's not quite accurate enough. It needs to be incorporated directly into a headset. Yeah. Really. Which I guess is what they're trying to do. They're trying to get purchased or something, maybe acquired by Meta or something to do this kind of stuff. I don't know. Okay, last few points. So there's some sim stuff you've put down here, Rog. Assetto Corsa.
I put a general sort of topic down here because there's a few different things happening. First of all, Assetto Corsa Evo, which is coming out later on this year. Obviously, Assetto Corsa very popular with the sort of VR sim racing crowd. The new one, and I'll go with the quote, which was with the launch of their new. I'm not going to try and pronounce that word. Their new high-performance photorealistic engine, they say VR and triple screen support have become first-class features. So yeah, native built-in VR support. Hopefully it should be really good. They've popped a load of screenshots up on the Steam page, and I mean, it's looking really nice. I don't think there's any video out there yet of the game itself, but this is coming this year. But it's always nice to see that it's nice to see the next Assetto Corsa game's going to have native support. The first Assetto Corsa was one of those games that helped get me through the DK1 days.
Yeah.
Because it was one of the very few games that had VR support in there. And even then, the front end menu was on the monitor.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, that was the pain with that game. You had to do the menu on the monitor, then go into VR.
And this was before you could get your desktop monitor up in VR. So you couldn't just have your desktop in VR, look at it, and do the menu there. And yeah, it was like headset off. Onto the monitor.
But the performance on Assetto Corsa, that first one, was phenomenally good in VR as well. Yep. And then Assetto Corsa Competizione, which I tried, the performance tanked. It was so bad.
All right.
You tried to say.
Yeah, Competizione, yeah. I've said it a few times on a video, so that's...
You've been practicing that one.
But yeah, if they're doing this, and hopefully they can get the performance up. It says high performance photorealistic engine, so you never know. Yeah, what else? This is video you sent us, Rog, last night. So Microprose, I didn't know they were still going.
Yes.
Didn't know anything about them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's any. There must be surely people from the original company. I don't know. Yeah, it's one of those weird things, isn't it? You sort of you think Microprose. Oh yeah, those guys from back in the day. Yeah. But yes, the Microprose YouTube channel posted some dev blog footage of the Mighty Eighth, which I remember hearing about ages ago and promptly forgot about as well. So yeah, flight sim game still in development. From the sort of view you get inside the plane, there's different stations inside the actual aircraft. So it must be multiplayer, you would think. Yeah. But yeah, there's...
Oh, I like the idea of that. So like me and Gary could be on the gunners.
You could have a gunner, pilot, bomber. Yeah.
I like the idea of this as well. Actually. And the trailer, well, it's not a trailer, it's a dev blog, isn't it? It's just a work in progress, really. But it looks pretty good, I've got to say. You look at this.
Yeah, it's one to keep an eye on. Hopefully, I mean, we don't know when it's going to be, but hopefully it won't be too long.
I really like the look of this.
Yeah, it does look really good.
It looks really good.
Yeah, it's definitely worth keeping an eye out for. They've not got any release date or anything like that at the moment, have they, as well? So it's on Steam. No. They've got a Steam page, but yeah, there's not a lot of information yet. So we'll see.
But yeah, the final thing on the sim stuff side of things was, back in the day, I don't think I know anybody who didn't have a Microsoft Sidewinder Force Feedback Pro joystick, because Force Feedback joysticks did used to be a thing, and then I think somebody bought the patents or a load of patents or something, and basically it killed the Force Feedback joystick industry, which is why for years we've had no Force Feedback joysticks.
Oh, right.
Apparently a lot of these patents have now expired, and I remember reading about that a while back, and then again, totally forgot about it. And then the other day, I saw somebody mention Force Feedback joystick, and I had a look, and it's like, oh wow, people are actually making them now, and they all seem to be coming from sort of earlier this year. And then I found another company who's making them, and I think there was three. Did I find three different ones? I can't remember. I've got a couple listed here. There's FF Beast, and then the Moser AB9, and basically these are base. You buy a base. An expensive base, so this is sort of like the expensive Force Feedback steering wheels you can buy, where you buy the base and then you can buy a wheel to plug onto that base, and they cost a fortune. This is a similar thing. These bases, you're starting around sort of like €600 plus just for the base, and then you have to put a stick on top of it as well. Yeah. So at the moment, these are sort of enthusiast level Force Feedback joysticks, but I just thought it was great to see that they're finally making a comeback. Hopefully, we'll get more mid-range and maybe more entry-level ones down the road. And say, because like I say, back in the day, everybody I knew had a Sidewinder Force Feedback Pro. So they were affordable. They weren't expensive.
No.
Maybe more expensive than a normal joystick, but still affordable for most people.
What were they? About £100 back in the day for a Force Feedback?
Maybe, I can't remember. Yeah, wouldn't have been much more than that, I don't think. Maybe 100, 129 or something. I don't know. Yeah. Hopefully we can get more sort of entry-level and mid-range stuff in the next year or two. But yeah. I thought I was just pleased to see him making a comeback.
Yeah. Again, something to look out for at least. And to finish off, we've got the Steam Summer Sale finally. And just, I've not had a look through it, to be honest. So there's a few games that you've listed down here. So Go Signal.
Yeah.
Go on.
Sorry. I just saw 3 what popped out. I mean, there's loads of stuff on sale. But obviously, Go Signal, favourite game of mine in VR, which, if you look on there, it's like £6 something. But if you buy it in the bundle with Iron Guard VR, it's £5.91. Which it's like, and I don't own either of those games, so it wasn't like, oh, this is slightly discounted because you own one. I don't own either of these on Steam. So, but yeah, less than £6, and you get a copy of Go Signal. I still think probably PSVR 2 is the best way to play it, just because of the OLEDs in there, and the whatever. But it's still a great game on any system. I played it on Quest. I played it on PSVR too. Brilliant game. Well worth that money. £6. Good grief. Yeah. Go Signal. Definitely. Buy it. Have a go. EA Sports WRC. Bit of controversy on the if you read the reviews, a lot of people complaining about the copy protection in it, which I don't know much about. But anyway, £13.49. I think it was on sale earlier, not long too back. For maybe like £17.99, and I didn't pick it up then. I probably will at this price point. So less than £12 for EAWRC. That's got native VR support in it. Some people saying you do have to really sort of crank the super sampling up because there's issues with the anisotropic filtering in it.
Right.
Again, I don't know. Have a look into it. And then if you've never, most people listening to this surely must have bought this by now, but Dirt Rally 2 is £4.49 or £8.74 if you want all the season 1 to 4 DLC included as well. And Dirt Rally 2 is just great in VR. Even with a joypad, it plays brilliantly.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That WRC is one of mine. I'm tempted by that one, but then again, I've got Dirt Rally 2 and I don't even play that enough. So what the hell?
Do you need another one? Yeah.
But yeah, there's some. I'm going to go and have a look in the Steam sale at some point over the weekend and see what I can find anyway. So,
one game I do want to give a quick shout out to though on Quest, it's just landed on the official Quest store, is Dead Second, and I'm sure I've talked about this in a very old episode of ours. I love this. It's a time crisis-ish sort of say point-to-point rail wave shooter. I know we've got plenty of those, but if you like sort of like Zombieland or if you like Crisis Brigade 2, give this one a go. It's, again, I'd put it up there with those games, and I think it's probably only improved since. It was unique at the time in the fact you could actually pick the refresh rate from within the game and the resolution scaling from within the game as well. So you could tailor the res and the image quality to whatever, if you're using a Quest 2 or a Quest 3 now, you can tailor it to get it to run how you want, whether you prefer resolution or whether you prefer frame rate, without having to use like Quest Games Optimizer or anything. It's like, I think it's like, is it $8.99? It's not a lot. And it's well worth your money. This is by one of the guys involved in this. It is Sean Edwards, who did one of my favourite VR games from back in the day, Lunar Flight.
Oh yeah, you've mentioned that. Yeah,
he was involved in this, and unfortunately, he posted a thing the other day. The company who does, I can't remember the name of the company who published this or what he was working for. He's just finished with them last week, as this has gone onto the official store. And unfortunately, he seems to be moving away from VR. He's moving away and setting up a flat game company. So there goes my hopes of ever getting a Lunar Flight VR 2, unfortunately.
Right. Well, I think we've hit that 2-hour deadline anyway, so we should probably finish it off there. You got any last things you want to mention, Lee?
You very quickly, if you do get any symptoms when you wake up and your face isn't moving on one side, your eyes drooping, your speech is slurred, please go to A&E straight away. Don't fill the kids' pool up and spend all day playing with your kids in the pool. it could, I was lucky enough it wasn't as serious as what they thought it might have been. They've got like a 4-hour window. They're all telling me you're too late. You could be really bad with this. So please get that sorted and see someone straight away. Don't be like me. But I'm okay. I'm good.
Good stuff. Okay. Rog, what about you? Any final thoughts?
No. We just hope we haven't been too negative in towards the end of this episode. Sorry, Tim. Apparently we were last time, so I don't know. Some judicious editing.
Oh,
maybe.
it's negative. Never.
We're just striving for better. That's all it comes down to.
Yeah.
That's never going to happen while I'm here.
Well, thank you anyway for everyone listening and watching on YouTube. Do, like, subscribe, all of that stuff, and comment. Give us a comment. Actually, I tell you what, we're probably going to be doing another show sometime in the next month at some point. Ask us questions or any thoughts that you've got that we can comment on or make a topic on. That'd be great as well. So, do some of that stuff. And we'll probably see you sometime within the next month. Not got a date yet, so we'll play it by ear. But yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.
Cheers, everyone.
Take care.
Textbook.
I really want to say right now, press Gary, Okay, go.